here to encourage, offer small business insight, and connect you to your maker community. Whether you're working in your studio space or out sharing your story at a farmer's market, welcome. We are John and Sarah Collins, and this is the Modern Forestry Podcast.
Hey guys, it's John Collins from Modern Forestry. This is the second segment podcast of having Ninja Warrior Coffee out here. We've got Stewart and Erin from Ninja Warrior Coffee, which is over at the Silos. Today we're going to be talking about a really interesting subject, which is how to involve your community within your business. So they've got a lot of really great stories, and I'm super excited for this. So me talking less, them talking more. Let's move on over to Stewart and Erin. Stewart and Erin, guys, welcome back. Welcome to the second.
Thank you.
Second segment here.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's great to be here.
Yeah, it's good to see you. All right, so tell me, how do you involve your community in your business? Why do you involve your community in your business?
So like I said, one thing is like coffee is community. So we love to engage, people in what we do as a business, as well as just who we are. It's a sharing of ourselves with others that creates that. It's with everything that goes on, it's that realization that you're not the only one out there. So there's a term. I don't think it's like a real word. It's called sonder. Have you heard this word?
I've heard it's saunter, but I think it's a walk.
Yeah, it's a walk. Yeah. I can do that. It's a small room. I can show that off. But sonder, S-O-N-D-E-R, is basically, I'm trying to remember the best definition for it, is the realization that in someone else's life, you're literally just a background character, someone in line at the grocery store or ordering coffee where they come in and they leave.
Okay.
And so Sonder is just that realization that up until the time we met, John, you led a life I had no knowledge of.
Yeah. And
you knew nothing of me.
Yes.
Right. Yep. And then at some point we crossed paths at a farmer's market.
Over coffee, actually.
Over coffee, exactly. You came, you got coffee. You came back. I went to your booth. We talked about candles. We talked about the things that would happen in our lives with our kids. And then you invited us to go to Modern Forestry on Forestry Fridays. Yep. We sold coffee there. We met other people. And so as you start gathering these connections, you start pulling in all these different things that create a better life, that fulfillment of knowing people and them making you better and you making them better. And so that's really what, we love to do a lot.
So like basically what you're saying is that like the more people that you have in your life in a way that helps you to grow, the better a person you become and the better person they become and the more you actually function. And what you're saying is that coffee is a medium.
Coffee is our means.
Yeah, the means to get
means
there.
To that end.
Okay.
And some of the ways that, and so realistically, when you do that, you have to be prepared for whatever happens. Again, like if you watch the first segment, and if you didn't, you should go back and do that. We talked about having that growth mindset, that willingness to do the thing you're not prepared to do.
Right.
Well, that's how connections with people happen as well. So we met some friends, and there were some friends from our church, and then we created a deeper connection with them through our business. They're also business owners. They came to our coffee shop. Their daughter loved to come to our coffee shop, and she would get a snack. Erin's a wonderful pastry chef, and she would have 100%. Like a drink, and her mom would get a coffee. And they came to our shop on their way to go to the beach. And while going to the beach or at the beach, like days later, she was diagnosed with leukemia.
Oh man!
And so that news came back to us, and we immediately went into motion, because our purpose is not necessarily coffee or what we're doing. Our purpose is people, and these people had connected with us, and their daughter had connected with us, and they needed us to move into action.
Yeah.
And so we printed out. We found cards you could print out, and we encouraged people to come in and have their kids color a card, write her a card and send it to her. Yeah. And we just covered her with cards of encouragement from people she didn't even know. And collected up, some things she could do in the hospital, games and things while she was getting treatments. And it was that doing those things where in the beginning, they were making our life better. They were buying our products. They were coming in. They were happy to be there. We loved seeing them. And then all of a sudden, we were able to make their life better.
The one family that came in, it was the mom and the little boy. He was probably maybe 5 or 6 months old.
Oh, no.
And they came in and we were doing the cards for our friend. Yeah. And so she came in for coffee and she immediately left and went and got some toys and came back and brought them for our friend. And she's been coming in ever since. And the little boy will be 4 this July.
Oh, my
And he took his first steps at the coffee shop. She would come in every day.
Yeah.
And he would nap in his stroller and then he would crawl around and then he started walking and now he comes in and he comes back to the kitchen and he wants to look through the window and say hello and see who's back there.
That's awesome. Yeah. So it's like the coffee shop.
Yeah. The other week they came in and he invited us to come to his house to have brownies and ice cream. Like he just
a brownie party.
Yeah. And so it's pretty great. Also, we started as we talked about at the farmers market.
Yeah.
And so we have people that we know that have known us since that first farmers market.
Yeah.
Like they've been customers since that time.
Amazing.
And we have a couple that we met at the farmers market. They would come, they would get coffee. They had their little girl who was, I guess she would have been about 3 at the time. And over that period of time, they basically became our best friends. And so we were hanging out with them. We were doing some different stuff. And then one weekend we got a text just kind of out of the blue that said, "Hey, we're going to come to your guys' church tomorrow."
Yeah.
We were like, "Oh, okay." Like, oh, great. Okay. And so,
we'll take it.
Yeah, we'll take it. So we meet them at church and whatever. And it's kind of cool. It's one of those things where, we're not very pushy, right? Yeah. We're really about relationships. That's what we do, And so through that relationship, that's the text we got. So they came to the church, and then they came again, and they started coming regularly. Then we would do other things, and over the course of about I guess a year of going, our friend accepted Christ. And it was just really amazing, just to be a part of that experience where, we didn't go out, like hunting,
right.
For people per se. In a way we did. We started a coffee shop, which draws people, right? But we were just faithful in doing and doing whatever that door opened, we would do that thing, right? When people would come in, if they needed help, if they needed whatever. And so then not long ago, in fact, you probably calculated exactly how long, but anyway, they became pregnant with another baby, and so their daughter is 8. Their little baby, their 2 girls, is now basically like 3 months old, I think, right? And but before, when they came and told us that they were having a baby, which was unexpected, like it was very much a surprise. They also asked us to be their children's godparents.
Oh.
And so you have that thread of, starting at the farmers market and meeting a couple and their small daughter to having basically like another extension of our family that is just as part of us. Like whenever we think about doing anything, we think about, well, what will they want to come and do this, because they're just part of our family now.
Right. Right. That's amazing. So you're starting a coffee shop and you're doing it to connect with people, and then you end up connecting with people that you end up, they're babies, they come in, they grow up,
Yep.
and then they come to your church.
And now we're just doing life together. Yeah.
And now you're almost part of your family.
That's
right.
That's right.
That is incredible. That's absolutely wonderful.
And coffee is also, so coffee is one of the top 10 traded commodities in the world.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you have like steel, aluminum. Coffee is one of those that's in the top 10.
Wow.
Except that other than some of those other items, it is an agricultural product. Somewhere along that train from your cup all the way down, there's someone who planted a tree and is nurturing it and growing that coffee and hiring someone who goes out into that field and picks that coffee.
Right.
And so we had the opportunity with a importer called Unblended out of Colombia to go to Colombia last year, and they've started a program called the UVI program, and they're taking young farmers who are growing coffee, just randomly growing coffee, and giving them kind of a goal to grow good coffee, because that coffee will go out and reach other people. They've developed a community and business program in this country for up and coming young farmers.
Wow.
And so we had the opportunity to go there, and we taught a class, and spoke to them and taught them how to do their business better. How can they do more with what they have? And met like I said, Andres Cardona, who's a young man doing his farming, and Jose Vasquez, as well as met Jaime, who is 80 years old and still farming, still growing coffee. So it was really amazing. But not only have we gotten to impact our community here in Easley and developed friendships and family members, we've also gotten to extend that to the growing community. The people that are selling us the coffee that we're now roasting to reach those people, we're reaching back the other way and getting to reach them and help to make their life better as well.
That's incredible. So basically you guys are long-term global thinkers in terms of how you do business. You're like a long-term global small business.
Right. Yeah.
So the only thing small about your perspective is just compared to Starbucks.
That's right. Exactly. Yeah.
So, but that's what people support, and that's what they should support, I think, too, because basically you're not in this to make the top, money is obviously one of the business goals that you have, because you've got to survive and you got to pay back everything that you've invested in your process and in the art that you've created here. But ultimately, it sounds like you're not primarily driven by the money. You're primarily driven by the meaning that you're providing to other people, and that's providing to you as well. I mean, just by nature of the relationships that you seem to have picked up.
Yep.
So that's awesome. Yeah, I remember bringing Peter when he was really young, and you guys always had toys set out for kids. Mm-hmm. The only coffee shop that I've been to that's got this little area zoned out for children, children here. And he said, anytime we go by, he's like, hey, can we play? I'm like, I guess I can suffer and get some coffee here.
Hang out for a little bit.
Yeah, that's wonderful. All right. So what I also like about heading into Ninja Warriors, every time I've been in there, you've got your regulars. I mean, it feels like Cheers in there. You walk in and you've got people who go, it's like, hey, Stewart, hey, Aaron, and then he'll sit and he'll talk, and then I'll I'm doing some work or doing some reading. I get 30, 45 minutes done, and I come back and you guys are still going strong, talking about, what's going on in Easley and everything else. So it's fantastic. The relationships, it's evident that you guys are pouring into the community on an individual basis. Mm-hmm. So what are some things that you would say in terms of, because I know that you've taken several other strategies that I've seen you guys doing, where you have first responders free coffee. You did several things for nurses as well. And so I was able to see these coming through on your social media and going in there, all the programs that you're promoting, all the cross promotion with other businesses that you're doing. I'm seeing this happening. So it's obvious that you're well plugged into where you're at and how you can make an impact there. What are some things that you would suggest for people who are, again, I'm thinking the younger couple that's trying to figure out how to do all this stuff. And so what are some words of wisdom you might be able to give in terms of community development?
Yeah. And so if so there's two, I guess, kind of communities we could think of. So like there's, your personal people to people community, and then there's your business community, okay, which are made up of people, but it's slightly different. So I'll address like a business community aspect first. Is that
cool.
What I like to say is there's enough success that we can all have some.
That's an amazing statement.
And so we've had other businesses that have come to us and said, "Hey, can we do this? Can we partner to do this thing?"
Uh-huh.
And we're like, "Yes." We had a young lady that came in, and she had started kind of a clothing thing, and she would do the vinyl that stuck on, and she was like, "Can I come on a Saturday and just set up shop? Like I don't have a place to set up shop."
Yeah.
And like the farmer's market's over, et cetera. And I'm like, "Yeah, let's come in on Saturdays." We don't charge anything, because realistically, if she brings people in and they buy coffee, then they know about us.
Yes.
Our people are coming in to buy coffee. They learn about her.
Yes.
And now she has a shop up on 153 that's where she works,
That's so cool.
and is open at different times. So we watched her kind of grow, and she comes in, she gets coffee, and we love to see her. But her being successful did not diminish our success.
Right. Yes.
It only increased our success. And that's the synergy. The sum of its parts is greater, or the whole of the parts is greater than its sum.
Yep.
And that's getting more by doing more, connecting. Places like the Donut Wagon, where we met at the Holly Jolly.
Oh, the Donut Wagon.
And they said, we're trying to get to Easley. So we filled out forms with the city and everything else to get them a spot. And now they have a spot in Easley, and they're doing well, and they love coming. And it's one of the places they make and sell a lot of donuts. So,
and for those that don't know, these are no ordinary donuts. These donuts they're much better than Krispy Kreme. I'm sorry. They're just so much like they're like cakes. They're tiny cakes with holes in the middle.
That's right. And even as we're closing the shop, and I reached out to another business owner and said, "Hey, let's talk about them." So now they can park at his shop. So I found them another place to go in Easley, because again, them being successful does not make us less successful.
So I want you to say that statement again, and say it with power too, because when you said it, it bewildered me. So go ahead.
Yeah. So there's enough success that all of us can have as much as we want.
Oh, amen! Right there, I'm clapping inside. Yep. That is so good. There's enough success that all of us can have some. Yeah. Man, what a good statement.
And so, and then with like a personal community, the thing that one of the things I tell our baristas when they come to work is that when people come in, we have no idea what's going on in their lives.
Yes.
Right.
Yep.
And our job is not just to serve them coffee. Our job is to be a bright spot in their day. Yeah. So as they're coming in, you don't know, is that guy going in to a job that he hates? Mm-hmm. Is he going in because is he going to visit his mom at the hospital? Is he, what's happening? You don't know what's happening in anybody's life. But when they come in and you say, "Hey, how are you?" And you give them that, and you say, "I hope you have a great day." And we write stuff on the sleeves for the coffee. We'll write sayings on the sleeves. Or I had a school that's just down the road. There's a charter school, and so for Christmas, I sent packets of sleeves, and their kids did an art project and decorated them. And then we put those sleeves on, and it was, and everybody thought that was great. Everybody got a sleeve, and they were like, "Oh, this is great." And I would say, "It's from the school down the road." "Oh, that's wonderful." And so they would leave with a lighter load than they came in with.
And like, even if that doesn't go back and reflect on the community and say, like, look what Ninja Warrior did. To me, I think that what you're saying is that the value is just that it was done, and what the value as people receive them. And that's really like, when you're thinking about how do you make money, like, should I make money or should I run a business that's focused on people? It's like, well, if you want to do the first, you better do the second.
Right.
It's even if you lose money doing some of these things, the character that's developed.
That's right.
The reputation that's developed. It's really like, it's because you could make a lot of money and get to a place where your character's not developed as reflective of how much money you have. You know, you could be very rich and unhappy and, and unsatisfied.
And we, there's, businesses we know of and even local businesses that make a lot of money, but no one ever speaks well of them. They always say, oh, that's where I go get this thing.
Yeah.
Because that's where you get this thing in easily. But they don't ever say, I love going to this place to get the
There's
thing.
Just no other option.
There's just not a lot of options, or it's got the lowest price, or it's got whatever. And I would rather have people speak well of us than to just have a lot of people come through.
Yeah, I think you're playing it correctly. I think you're living it out correctly, and that's I 100% agree with that. That's fantastic. So that's community involvement right there. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
If you'd like to support, one surprising thing that you can do is review the podcast. It helps more than you would think in iTunes, and it's very easy to do. Head over to iTunes, go to Modern Forestry Podcast, and drop a review. You can also do it on your podcast app if you're using an Apple device. Thanks so much for listening. We're grateful for the hustle.